Asian markets start the year on a tepid note, open largely flat with the Australian market marginally up and Hang Seng remaining largely unchanged. Japan and mainland market, China market are shut. The Gift Nifty is indicating a positive start for the Indian market. Brokerages downgrade shares of ITC after higher than expected hike in taxes on cigarettes. Nuvama downgrades to hold from a buy rating and cuts the target price sharply from 534 rupees earlier to 415 rupees. While Motilal Oswal also downgrades the stock to a neutral from buy with a revised target price of rupees 400. Brokerages believe that the company needs to take at least 25% hike in prices across portfolios to maintain the current net realization per cigarette stick. In a long-awaited announcement and a confirmation of CNBC TV18 news break, Board of Sapphire agrees to amalgamate with Devyani International. Sapphire shareholders will receive 177 shares of Devyani International for every 100 shares they hold, translating to an exchange ratio of 1.77 Devyani shares for each Sapphire share. And TVS Motor beats estimates as its December sales come in way above the CNBC TV18 poll, 50% higher on a year-on-year basis, while Hero MotoCorp's total sales during the period jumps 40%, while exports jump 21%. Hyundai, however, posts the weakest performance amongst peers, a growth of 6% versus an estimate of 13%. Hello, good morning. You're tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC TV18. I'm Vinny Motiwala. Thank you so much as tuning in as always. Let me start with what the Asian markets are doing for you all this morning. Now, obviously, we have Japan as well as mainland China that's shut, but Hang Seng, that's indicating a bit of a positive start. Taiwan index has opened up with good gains of around 5/10 to 0.6%. And apart from that, today what is interesting is the Kospi, that's the South Korean index, that actually, that was something that hit fresh record highs on Friday's trading session. And today also it is trading higher. So it is interesting to keep an eye out on what the Kospi is doing. So all in all, we've seen a bit of a decent morning that's coming from the Asian markets as of now. Like you can see on the screens also, Kospi is holding on to gains of 0.9%. So let's watch out for what happens through the day, whether our Indian markets manage to see some bit of a gain, manage to hold on to the gains at 26,000 level is key to watch out for. Nifty implied open as of now is indicating a positive start for our markets. So no complaining on that front. But let's move on and get our team of research who's there always to set you up for trade, tell you how these overnight cues are going to be impacting our markets, important stocks that one should be keeping an eye out on as well. And for that, first up, let's go across to Vivek, who's here to tell us the important cues that we should be keeping an eye out on today. Good morning, Vivek.
Well, good morning. As we head into the second trading session of 2026, in terms of overnight cues, what we need to watch out for, remember, equity commodity markets worldwide, most of them were shut on January 1st. So mostly, taking the cues, looking at the futures as far as Dow were concerned. Now, in terms of Indian markets, how exactly did it perform yesterday? Largely near the flat line with the Nifty holding on to levels just above the 26,100 mark. The broader markets fared relatively better. Advance decline ratio in favor of the advances. What was the key talking point yesterday? Well, it was the big fall in ITC. A sharp hike in cigarette taxes is something that the street didn't like. ITC was the top underperformer yesterday. And now when you're talking about the Nifty Bank actually managed to do quite well. And the key sectoral indices that did very well yesterday were auto sales. Came in, most of the auto numbers came in ahead of expectations. And along with that, even the PSU banking pack did quite well. Telecom stocks that took a beating on December 31st made quite a bit of a sharp comeback in yesterday's trading session. In terms of what we will be watching out for today, remember, reactions to auto sales, Hero Motor, Hyundai, Eicher, the two-wheeler numbers as well as TVS Motors will remain in focus. News flow in terms of Sapphire as well as Devyani International, the merger, largely expected. It has come. It'll be interesting to see how the stocks react. As you mentioned, Asian markets, Gift Nifty, all indicating a slightly moderate positive start for our markets today.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Vivek. But now let's go across to Gaurav, who's here to tell us which are the important stocks to watch out for in the trading session. Good morning, Gaurav.
Well, good morning. As Vivek suggested, Devyani and Sapphire both are going to be in focus. But apart from that, let's talk about Aurobindo Pharma, because company is going to now acquire non-oncology formulation business of Khandelwal Laboratories via BTA worth 325 crores. Other than that, Olectra Greentech. Now, this company is going to open one of the facilities in the greenfield expansion that they did in Hyderabad. Apart Apart from that, we have a couple of stocks who will be reacting on the back of the auto sales update. So first, let's talk about TVS Motors. In the month of December, TVS said that the total sales number that has gone up almost by 50% on a year-on-year basis, and this is also higher than our poll. Other than that, Hero MotoCorp, this company also reported 40% growth on a year-on-year basis for the month of December in terms of sales, and it is also higher than our and Street's expectation. And lastly, let's also talk about Maruti Suzuki. Now, company said that they have reported highest ever wholesale in 42 years, because if you look at the total sales number, that has crossed 2.17 lakh unit, and it is up almost by 32% on a year-on-year basis. Other than that, let's also focus on some of the banks because of the quarterly updates that they have given. First, let's talk about Punjab and Sindh Bank. If you look at the numbers, now loan book growth that came in at around 15%, it is well within the guidance, and deposit growth, although it looks at 9.3%, but again, it is in the guided range of the company. Indian Bank reported very good set of numbers. Advances grew almost by 14.5%, while deposits grew almost by 12.5%. Remember, they were guiding for advances growth of around 10 to 12%, so definitely higher than their own guidance. And lastly, let's also talk about South Indian Bank. Here also we saw numbers actually for loan book was strong in terms of sequential basis. It was up almost by 5% sequentially, and on a year-on-year basis, it was up 12%. We can say fairly in line with the what management had guided. So all in all, let's watch out for all these stocks in a day-to-day.
Okay, Gaurav, thanks so much for that. But what's going to be happening in the world of F&O? What should we watch out for? We have Sudarshan to give us those details. Good morning, Sudarshan.
Good morning, Vinny. So yesterday it was not a bad start. It was muted, but not a bad start for Nifty or say to 2026. If it were not ITC, Nifty would have been higher by at least 150 points, because ITC was the one stock which dragged Nifty by more than 100 points. If you talk about today's trading session, Gift Nifty for you is indicating a start with a gain of more than 40 points. And it seems like that very soon Nifty will hit the level of 26,325 and above, because 26,325 is the record high level that we will be watching out for. As far as the data from the index futures are concerned, in the Nifty futures, we have seen some selling. Yesterday in the index futures, we have seen selling of almost 344 crore, but there was a buying in the Nifty Bank futures. In the Nifty Bank futures, the buying was almost 174 crore, and the support came from financial space. Some of the major PSU banks were still higher, and they have been in the focus for the last few trading sessions. So longs position for FIs 9%, short position 91%. On the option side, on the call side, 26,200 and 26,350 were the most active ones. Minor call writing we have seen with the premium falling for both these options. And on the put side, 26,100 and 26,000 were the most active ones. Support for Nifty would be around 26,000. That's the 50-day moving average. Resistance will remain around 26,325. That's the record high. Nifty Bank support would be 59,234. That's the 20-day moving average. And resistance would be 60,114. That's the record high for Nifty Bank. One stock is in the band, that is SAIL, and some of the stocks that can be in focus. APL Apollo after Q3 update has been seeing fresh longs. Bajaj Auto ahead of its monthly numbers has been seeing fresh longs, and one stock ahead of quarterly update is seeing fresh shorts is Avenue Supermarts.
Okay, Sudarshan, thank you so much for that. But let's move on. And yesterday, we actually managed to speak to S. Narain, Executive Director and Chief Investment Officer at ICICI Prudential AMC, and we spoke about the market outlook for 2026. Listen into what he had to say.
Yeah, actually, this is a mature bull market. This is not a initial part of the bull market. You've seen all sectors do well. You've seen all the stocks do well. And US has also got a mature bull market. Therefore, we are in that stage, where we have to do stock picking. There's nothing at this point of time which looks dirt cheap at this point of time that you can make big money at this point of time. We are no longer saying that small cap is a no-no or something like that. We have to look at all capitalizations, micro cap, mid cap, small cap, everything, and look for ideas where stocks have corrected meaningfully. And you feel that we can make money. We have to do work on those companies also. It's not that you can buy anything and everything just because it has fallen. We have to do the work also. And that's what my colleagues are engaged in across sectors. Say many of these quality-oriented sectors are getting more interesting at this point of time, but none of them, if you look at whether it is FMCG, whether it is some of the pharma sector stocks, some of the IT stocks, these are all some of the stocks, which were actually in favor in 2020. today in 2026, those are the stocks which are looking better at this point of time. If we had wanted to say a specific theme, it would be easiest for us to say invest in this theme. But frankly, there is no such theme at this point of time, because the reality is, can you show me a sector which is trading at less than 20 PE and has done badly at this point of time? Then you'll find that there is no such theme at this point of time. I think we are giving good valuations to public in the market. There are very few markets in the world where the IPO market is as active as India. And there is a responsibility on all of us to actually carefully invest in IPO stocks. Right? And we make that mistake. If we make mistakes, we'll come to know later. But I would say that equity supply will continue. I don't see an end. Yes, January seems light comparatively. But if I take a year, I think there will be many IPOs which will come, and that will continue and keep a lid on the market.
Okay, on that note, we're actually going to sip into a very short break. But up next, we'll come back with the spotlight on Sapphire Foods as the board has agreed to amalgamate with Devyani International. Stay tuned in for those updates. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV18. Now, let's talk about Sapphire and Devyani International, because this was a long-awaited announcement, a confirmation of the CNBC TV18 news break. The board of Sapphire has agreed to amalgamate with Devyani International. To get more details on this one, let's go across to Rachna for that. Good morning, Rachna.
Good morning. This is a CNBC TV18 Newsbreak confirmed. Sapphire Foods has approved its merger into Devyani International, confirming what we had reported earlier. On December 4th, we had said that the merger talks were at an advanced stage, with the swap ratio being the main hurdle. At that time, sources had indicated that ratio could be close to 1:2. Now the ratio has been finalized, and under the approved deal, Sapphire Foods shareholders will receive 177 shares of Devyani International for every 100 Sapphire shares, or a swap of 1:1.77 swap ratio. Now, the merger is planned to take effect from April 1st, 2026, subject to approvals from regulators, shareholders, and the courts. But once completed, Sapphire Foods will cease to exist as a separate company. Now, the aim of the merger is to bring KFC and Pizza Hut and other brands that both the companies run under their banner, all of their operations under one listed company in India, while excluding outlets at airports and railway stations. As a part of the deal structure, Sapphire Foods Mauritius, a promoter entity, will sell around 5.95 crore shares, or about 18.5% stake, to Arctic International, which is a Devyani Group company. Now, Arctic can later sell the stake to a financial investor. The board has also approved a new agreement with Yum India, updating business and commercial terms for KFC, Pizza Hut and other companies after this merger. Also after this merger, Sapphire's promoters will be treated as public shareholders in Devyani International. Now, the deal marks one of the biggest consolidations in India's fast food sector, with scale and cost savings seen as the key benefits. Back to you.
Okay, Rachna, thank you so much for that. Two important stocks to watch out for in the trading session today. But let's move on to some global opinion on artificial intelligence, AI, as we entered 2026. Mutul Kotecha, head of Forex and EM Macro Strategy Asia at Barclays, says that the investment into the space will continue, notwithstanding the nuanced approach around IT. Listening to his views.
There is a more nuanced approach now in markets. We've seen that reaction in equity markets, where even with strong investment announcements and from a number of US firms, we've not necessarily seen that reaction in their stock prices. But I think, even with this nuanced approach, it does seem like we're going to continue to see very strong AI investment. And in that sense, I think markets will still continue to be driven if you look at the US growth outlook or US growth from this year, last year, it was very much driven by AI. China came out with a number of positive surprises on the AI front as well. And so I think this is still going to be very much front and center for markets. But yes, it will be nuanced. I think, we obviously I'm not an equity analyst, but we do think there will be a little bit more of a discerning investment outlook and discerning interest from investors.
On that note, we're actually going to slip into a very short break. Out of the break, we'll get your cues of the world of commodities. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV18. But let's get the latest update in the world of commodities. We have Manisha Gupta, as always, joining in with us to tell us what's shining bright today. Or maybe we're losing that sheen for gold and silver. What's happening here today, Manisha?
Oh, well, we are not losing that sheen at all, Vinny. We are looking at gold and silver starting 2026 on a positive note as well. Well, 1st of January wasn't working for various international markets. But today, as 2nd January begins, we're looking at silver already trading higher by 2%. Remember, silver gained up by 150% in 2025 as well. And after U.S. has put silver in critical mineral list, the low inventories, rising industrial and investment demand, all of that has been very supportive for silver. So yet another strong start to 2026, at least till now. If you look at the gold prices, well, that also seems to have started 2026 on a positive note. $43.50 an ounce is where we are trading onto that one as well. The geopolitical uncertainty, U.S. rate cuts, central bank buying, all of that has been supportive for gold as well. Platinum is up 2% in this year. The crude oil prices also have started 2026 on a clean note. The only thing that hasn't done very well is the natural gas prices. That one is trading at a 10-week lows.
Okay, only thing that's not doing well today, natural gas prices, but gold, silver, all of that back and shining bright as of now. Thanks so much for that, Manisha. But let's move on. We have some international updates coming in, and that is on the tragic incident from Switzerland, as around 40 people were killed and 115 people were injured when a fire ripped through a crowded bar during a New Year Eve party in the upscale Swiss ski resort in Crans, Montana. Let's have a look at the report.
Mourners began the new year laying flowers at a vigil in the Swiss resort town of Crans, Montana on Thursday after a fire at a bar killed dozens and injured over 100. That's according to authorities, who said the fire broke out at 1:30 a.m. during a New Year's Eve party at La Constellation Bar. Locals said the spot was popular with teenagers. Swiss President Guy Parmelin called the disaster, quote, one of the worst tragedies to hit the country. The cause of the blaze, which was initially reported as an explosion, remained unclear, but authorities said the fire appeared to be an accident rather than an attack. Nathan and Axel, who said they were at La Constellation when the fire broke out, described a, quote, nightmare scene. Crowds of people in total panic, loud screams, and smoke clouding their vision.
Totalement panique, qui criait, c'était, ouais, on aurait dit un cauchemar.
Nathan added the seriousness of the blaze was not immediately clear and that there were no emergency exits.
Aucune lumière d'exit, comme il y a écrit.
The two, along with another witness, 17-year-old Letitia, said they have friends who were unaccounted for.
Là, il me répond plus.
Letitia said people were pushing through a small door in hopes of escaping and fell on top of each other. She told a reporter, quote, some people were burning and some were dead next to us.
Il y en avait qui étaient morts à côté de nous.
An investigation into the blaze is ongoing as authorities work to identify the deceased so they can be returned to their families.
Okay, that's the latest update that's coming in there, but that's all the time we have on this edition of Power Breakfast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, a Passar Morning Call.